All right, let's do a little fill in the blank. AFC West edition. The most impactful AFC West offensive edition this year will be who?
I'm gonna go.
Offensive.
I'm gonna go here with Omarion Hampton with the Chargers. I think the benefits of drafting him, top 25 pick, right? I think it was 22 to be specific there.
Yes.
That's the guy. You talked about J.K. Dobbins. He wasn't the same. They had no explosive element last year to lean on. It's Jim Harbaugh. This is the guy that ran the ball a whole second half in 2023 in college football. That doesn't happen anymore. So that's not only is he an important part to how they want to play, he's a guy that's going to get them more yards than expected in a lot of situations. And he's going to open up the offense for Justin Herbert. So I'm going to go with Omarion Hampton there.
I'm tempted to go Ashton Genty. I'm still concerned about your observation pre-draft that against Penn State, it wasn't as dominant from
scares me a little
as it was against the rest of their opponents. So is he going to be able to maintain that edge that he had, that gap that he had, where he was just running circles around everyone? I love the Evan Engram move by the Broncos. I think that was one of those
I like it.
Underrated, off the radar. Because we just assume if the Jaguars got rid of him, they must decide he's not good anymore. No, they just decide he doesn't fit with whatever it is they're trying to do for whatever reason. The guy started off somewhat disappointing as a first-round pick of the Giants. He did very well with the Jaguars, got franchise tagged, ultimately got a contract. And, there was a guy named Jimmy Graham that made a lot of stuff happen for Sean Payton and the Saints at the tight end position. And you're talking about not having the receivers. Well, you got to have somebody who can catch the passes, and Engram is a proven commodity. So if they can beef up the running game and then pivot to a passing game that features a tight end with a track record of getting down the seam, making the big catches, moving the chain, scoring points, that's just another ingredient in supercharging a Broncos team that I think could make things.
Hey, I like the pick. I like where your head's at there. It's it's probably a little more unconventional and under the radar as far as a name there, but you're right. I mean, he's going to be a difference maker for that football team. And we just talked about they only have one kind of game-changing receiver. So now you get R.J. Harvey and you get a tight end, and you start to go, okay, now there's three weapons on the offense. Watch out. And you said it right. He as in Sean Payton, knows how to use a guy like Evan Engram. Not only use him schematic, like to get him open and get him the ball, but also to use him formationally to get keys from a defense. That's going to be part of the value there too. And yeah, he's still a really good player. I know, like you said, Jacksonville got rid of him, but this is business sometimes in the NFL. He's making some money, whatever. He's at a point of his career, and they had a guy in Brenton Strange out of Penn State from a few years ago in the draft who they like. So they just went cheaper and younger there. It doesn't mean Evan Engram doesn't have some good ball to play, to your point there, man.
And it's not like he's the only one. There was that period of time where they were just like getting rid of everybody. They were doging the Jacksonville Jaguars at one point.
Right. Go ahead. What do you want to go? No, that was you're
too soon.
You're right.
Well, no. It's not too soon, depending upon who it is we're referring to. Although that all has gotten very interesting. That's one of those popcorn GIF moments. The past few days, it's just been like, I had a feeling this was going to happen at some point.
We all did.
It's happening.
Right.
And let's see what happens next.
Yeah.
Here's what happens next. Most impactful AFC West defensive edition will be who?
Well, that's a good question here. We got no options here? Is there any options here?
No, there's some. Yeah, there's some.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
They haven't exactly had a lot of high-profile defensive additions in the AFC West this year.
No, they really haven't. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that's like off the radar here that I could look at of these football teams, and I'm looking at their rosters. I think if you're going to make me choose one, I'm going to stay there in Denver. I'm going to go with Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw, if healthy, playing football, is no question one of the best linebackers in the game. He can do it all. I mean, he is a chaos creator. He is a kamikaze killer when it comes to hitting in the run game, sideline to sideline. He's very good in coverage. That's one where I look at and go, wait, that defense was awesome, and now they got that crazy mofo in the middle of the defense? Watch out. So, yeah, that's the one I would say I like more than anybody. I know that I can't think of anybody else more creative than that, so I think that's the best
And
one.
I'll stay there with Talanoa Hufanga. And, Chris, I don't think we talked about this on the air.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it either before the show or during a break, but it's a culture shock for these guys in Denver because the defense they're used to is very, very simple.
You've heard me say that, right.
And I've heard that, like, Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator, is kind of like,
yeah, they don't know anything. They've never had this rule.
We got
a
lot to teach these guys.
Right.
Like, have they even been coached? Like, well, no. When the defense is that simple, you just go and you do what you do well. And it could make them even better if they can unlock a versatility to their game and fit into what it is that the Broncos are doing. They could be even better than they've been.
Agreed there. Agreed. And we've heard that before. That's why you see a lot of Seattle scheme players never really leave the Seattle scheme. You know, there's greatness in that because they just go, wait, I know it. There's not a ton of rules. We only play 2 or 3 defenses, so I can just fly around and play, right? But I'm not a fan of that defense because they're super talented. There's not enough creative schematical advantage to be had. You're not fooling the great quarterbacks in football ever. They're always like, oh, it's that defense. Oh, it's this defense. Oh, it's that defense. Oh, it's this defense. Which one is it going to be? Yes, you guys are good at it, but we're never really that uncomfortable because there's no mental juggling about figuring out what you're doing. That's always been my problem with this Seattle scheme. If you don't have incredible talent, it's really not that great. And a guy like Vance Joseph, he's going, wait, I got 90 million defenses, and when we play this team, this defense transitions to that kind of defense, and when we play this team, this coverage kind of changes and does that, and that's going to be, learning school for those 49ers guys.
All right, the Chiefs' biggest threat to what would be a 10th straight AFC West title, so they're riding a streak, math is hard, of 9, is who?
I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. I am. With that coach, as awesome as he is, that quarterback situation they got going, that defense, that's the team I go. It's them or the Chargers. I'm not ready to put the Raiders in that conversation yet. They're going to be better. They'll be a pain in the butt. I know that. But it's the other 2 teams that were in the playoffs with the Chiefs last year. And, yeah, you're going to make me pick one. And we're talking about the additions they got and Sean Payton in year 3 and year 2 with this quarterback and all that. I'm going Broncos.
Yeah, I think the Broncos, too. Broncos or Chargers. The Raiders just have a long way to go. Now, I feel better about the Raiders than I may have based upon the fact that they brought in Pete Carroll, who has a history of turning things around quickly. Right. They've got a quarterback in Geno Smith. They have Ashton Genty, who if he does end up being as great as he was at Boise State, that's going to change everything in the AFC West. But this is suddenly a very competitive division. Like you said, it may be the greatest collection of coaching talent, head coaching talent, any division has ever had. There are the odds, courtesy of DraftKings. You see how close it is between the Broncos and the Chargers. Broncos at 3-1, Chargers at plus 310. You and I both like the Broncos, but
seriously, like what rivals it, right?
Either.
Can you think of a division that ever rivals that? The NFC East of the late 90s, right? I think you could probably put that into that conversation. Parcells, Gibbs, Jimmy Johnson was there, even though yet he hadn't, accumulated the hardware, and it was Buddy Ryan, who was the 4th place guy. I mean, that
early 90s then. Early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah. Or 89, Jimmy Johnson took over in 89, right? So, yeah. In 90 would be the only year because Parcells last year with the Giants was 90. So, I don't know. Any other ones that jump to your mind there as far as an era where there was that many good coaches in one division?
Top to bottom, no, because usually you've got, a good team. You've got a really good team, and you've got a team that's maybe competitive, and then everybody else stinks. And those coaches don't get viewed as being great. But because we've had the one guy who's the established godfather of the division in Andy Reid, and then in comes Sean Payton, in comes Jim Harbaugh, in comes Pete Carroll. No coach has ever won a Super Bowl with 2 different teams, and every coach who has won a Super Bowl with one team is keenly aware of it. And now the AFC West has 2 coaches. Half the head coaches in the AFC West are trying to be that guy who is the first one to win a Super Bowl with 2 different teams.
It's crazy.
And it's one of those things that we don't talk about a whole lot, but I know from talking to the coaches who have won one, they are very aware that there's a trail that has not been blazed yet of winning a Super Bowl with 2 different teams.
Yeah, I agreed there. That is definitely, a notch on the belt that a coach would want to have to go, hey, look, it wasn't just the organization, it's me. It's me that makes the organization better. So we've had some guys get close and all that, but 3 Super Bowl winners, 2 national championship winners with the 4 coaches in the AFC West. That's pretty insane.
Who's the coach right now most likely in your mind to win a Super Bowl with a second team? And it could be a coach who's still with the team with which he's won a Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I hear you. Right. Like if a Sean McVay
like a Mike Tomlin.
one day,
like
or
Tomlin,
Mike Tomlin.
Or
right.
a Harbaugh. Yeah. John, not Jim.
Yeah. I'm still going to go with Sean Payton, I think. I am. I'm just too much of a fan of Sean Payton and everything he does and how he makes his team physical, mental, all of that. I think he's going to be the guy. If you made me bet on anybody, he'll be the guy to do it.
He's the one who's in the best position because he's with the second team and he has a team that is rounding into something.
Exactly.
And it was year 4 with the Saints when he won a Super Bowl. This is year 3 with the Broncos, and they could be on the verge of something special. The problem is they got to deal with the friggin' Chiefs.
That's right.
They got to deal with the Chiefs. And maybe they'll be the team that can finally pierce that armor because they play them twice per year in the regular season. If they would ever cross paths with them in the playoffs, maybe they'd be in a better position than the Ravens or the Texans or the Bills to take down the Chiefs because they're not going to be intimidated by them because they'll know them so well. All right, let's take a break. By the way, the odds for the AFC West Championship, courtesy of DraftKings, and DraftKings Sportsbook is the home for live betting. New customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just download the app and use the promo code PFTLive when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. As always, please bet responsibly, only with money that you are fully prepared to lose, because if you listen to morons like us, there's a pretty good chance you will. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.